Development, in Freud's model, has a clear directionality. The infant begins at the oral stage, progresses through the anal, then the phallic, passes through the latency period, and arrives at the genital stage of mature adult sexuality and relatedness. Each stage has its characteristic conflicts, its characteristic developmental tasks, and its characteristic resolution. When the resolution happens well, when the conflicts of the stage are negotiated with enough success, the person moves forward with their developmental energy largely intact, available for the demands of the next stage. But what happens when a stage's conflicts are not adequately resolved? When the developing child encounters either too much frustration, deprivation, trauma, neglect, or, paradoxically, too much indulgence at a particular developmental moment. Freud's answer was fixation, the anchoring of a portion of the person's libidinal energy at that stage, unable to move forward because the conflict that needed resolution has not been resolved. The person grows older in years but carries with them, in some dimension of their psychology, the unsettled concerns of an earlier developmental period. The metaphor Freud used was of an army advancing through territory. If a portion of the troops encounters an enemy position and becomes engaged in a battle that isn't resolved, those troops cannot continue the advance. They remain behind, holding the contested position. The rest of the personality may move forward, may develop, mature, form relationships, achieve things, but part of the psychological army is still back there, fighting the old battle. Under conditions of stress, when the advancing portion of the personality comes under pressure, it may fall back toward where its reserves are held. This is regression, the return to an earlier developmental position under stress, and it is closely related to fixation. You can only regress to where fixation holds energy. Oral fixation, resulting from difficulties in the first 18 months of life, leaves the adult with an enduring focus on oral concerns: feeding, sucking, speaking, acquiring. The oral character may be excessively dependent, emotionally hungry in relationships, prone to addictive behavior, or, in the oral aggressive type, demanding, biting in wit, and sarcastically devouring in their engagement with the world. The specific manifestation varies. The underlying theme is an unresolved relationship with the earliest concerns of nurturance and dependency. Anal fixation, resulting from difficulties in the toilet training period, produces the familiar anal retentive or anal expulsive character types, the person who needs rigid control, orderliness, and the hoarding of time, money, or possessions on one hand, or the person who is characteristically messy, impulsive, and recklessly generous on the other. Both represent unresolved conflicts around control and autonomy, the question of who governs whom, and what happens when external authority demands compliance from the developing will. Phallic fixation, arising from inadequately resolved Oedipal conflicts, leaves the adult with a personality organized around the Oedipal themes: competition, conquest, exhibitionism, and a compulsive need to prove something about one's own attractiveness and power. The phallic character is boastful, recklessly ambitious, easily threatened, and often engaged in a lifelong competition with real or imaginary rivals that replays the childhood triangle. Modern developmental psychology has substantially complicated the specifics of Freud's fixation concept while preserving its core insight, that early developmental experiences do leave lasting traces in personality, that certain periods are particularly sensitive windows in which particular types of experience have disproportionate lasting effects, and that adult patterns often reflect the incompletely resolved concerns of much earlier life phases. The hydraulic model of fixated libidinal energy is not supported by modern neuroscience. But the observation that unresolved early conflicts continue to organize adult behavior, that we carry our developmental history into every room we enter, is one of the most robustly confirmed insights in all of psychology. Subscribe to Psychology. Theories explained for more psychology breakdowns every week.